Good evening, ladies, gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to the stream. It's going to be a long one, this one. Long race. So, yeah, exciting times. It's the finale. So, double points on offer in both groups. So, in the pros and the pro-ams. So, it's all to play for in this final race here in Belgium, Spa. To Spa. It's a nice place. Anyway, yeah. Hello from Portugal. Hello, Sergio. Welcome. Cool. I was here to cheer on Serrano. Yeah, it's let us know who you're all shouting for. Anyway, here we go. Start of quali. Let's get it on the straight. I just put this this starting screen up because it just shows. I've just put the top 10 in the pro and the pro-am for us to have a look at. So it is tied after 9 rounds and everything that's gone on. Rich Gasson and Dan Moffat at the top of the pros. And then everyone down to 8th place in pro, I've worked out. Because it's double points, that means there's 124 points, 130 points on offer. Technically, everyone down to 8th place can still win the championship in the pros. And it's not dissimilar for the silvers as well. There's it's really close. The top in silver is 317. So everything down to 10th place, potentially, could win. It depends, you know, it depends what happens, but so many points on offer, so it's really all to play for. Let's hope it's everyone gets a chance to do their best and give their best in the race. So what have we got? We're at Spa. It's a good place to finish. We'll finish this season in Spa, I think. Not sure what we do for the next one, but we'll see how we go. Quali's just started. Everyone's on their install lap. So yeah, as I mentioned, let's get on to the big screen. So we'll go live on that one. It's just on auto cam at the moment, so it's picking some stupid ones. Let me just get that off. Get onto the live timings and let's look at who's out on track. First, just got to get my. I think that display is going to be. That's what I'm on. Yeah. So what have we got here on? So I'm a bit slow, as ever. So yeah, Paul Sims looks like he got out first. I'll just change the camera. We'll get on Helicam for this for a bit. So yeah, fantastic. Got 22 guys on track for quali, so that's fantastic. It's a pretty good turnout. And Sims is in there in the mix as well. I think he's top 6, top 5 or 6. But yeah, so Dan Moffat and Rich Gasson up there at the moment. Then a bit of a gap, but not an unsurmountable gap, as mentioned, to the rest of the field. Yeah, hi Laura, good to see you. With Thomas, he's there as well. He's in the mix. So yeah, let's see how he goes. I know he's not. He said he had a bad night's sleep and he's been stressing all day about getting the Ferrari around the track, having nightmares about crashing. Although I shouldn't laugh because it wasn't dissimilar. Last season I raced in as well. I know Dan gets the same as well. Gets really nervous for these races. Yeah. So anyway, Paul's out there at the moment. Obviously putting in a faster lap than his install lap. Up to TV. So yeah, Belgium. It's I'm always surprised that in GT3, in ACC in particular, the amount of people that don't like driving in Belgium. I just don't get it. It's a great track, right? It's great. I mean, it's a bit unforgiving. It is some horrible corners, and it's very long lap, I guess. But it's a great track. It's just a great racetrack, and we've got an hour of it this evening. So we'll look forward to seeing what happens over the race. Hopefully, it's a good one. And we got lots to talk about for an hour. Otherwise, we'll move on to Pringles again and other snack foods, which are very. But yeah, it's at the moment, got my timing boards right. Has anyone actually set a lap yet? No. This is this first flying lap. Just wait to see who puts time at first, probably. Yeah, Paul, I'm sure, I know he's fast here. I've seen him done the endurance races recently. Dan as well, some serious pace, and the Ferrari I know is quick here. I know everyone says it's quick everywhere. It's pretty good. So so is a Mercedes though, which could. Right, what have we got then? 218 flat for a first flying lap, and I don't think the track's even optimal yet. Dan's done a 218.0. So yeah, that's pretty awesome. Lap P2 at the moment. Dave not far behind with a 218.1, and it's close for Paul in third as well, 218.3. So that's three really good bankers there. These guys. There's Cookie there as well, flying around in Cook's luxury AM. Yeah, so I haven't got the championship on screen, but I've mentioned it in the announcements, and I mentioned it earlier. In Pro, it's definitely everyone in the top 8. If they get it right, they do well here. They could clinch championships. Certainly, if you were not, if things weren't so mixed up, Rich Gasson and Dan Moffat. Rich is here. Yeah, he is here. Dan Moffat have a bit of a gap to everybody else. So if they finish well, like sort of top 3, top 5, they're probably going to clinch first and second spot. So third place in the championship still up for grabs. Anybody from positions 3 to 8 in the championship, I'd say. So yeah, fantastically close. And then in the Pro-Ams, even closer, because the gap to the top position, the gap for the top 3 is not as big as it is in the Pro category. So yeah, it's close. It's good. Yeah, Steve. Good evening, Steve. Yeah, it's at commiserations. It'll be your last Tuesday. You'll have to pull your finger out. Join us on Monday nights. Hopefully, it won't be too much of a burden for you. Definitely think it should be, bearing in mind some of the laps I've seen you putting in as well here. So I think it's only fair. So anyway, I'm just focusing on Paul, aren't I? It's not Paul Sim's show. Let's have a look at some other. Mr. Sparks and BMW now. I mean, it wasn't good, was it, when 1.9 came out at Spa, at the high speed tracks? But top end's got better on it, hasn't it? So it's back up there. Dan Moffat and Sparks setting the pace in the Beamer. So oh jeez, man, look at that, 217.4 for Dave Sparks, making me feel inadequate in, at least in the sim racing aspect. Not others, I don't know the guy, probably would. And Dave Marsh 217.7, and also Rich Gasson just joined the 217 club as well. In the Lambo, 217.887, which is also a pretty awesome lap. Just see what else we get now. That view, so we just have a little bit of a look at where the current standings are as we get sort of, what are we, halfway through quali already? God, do I awful that? Geez, sorry. Right. So yeah, within a second we've got the top 7, and just looking at the other categories as well, and the Pro-Am. So let's just look at our highest Pro-Am at the moment. Gary, he's fast. Gary Barham's done a 218.1 in the Beamer. So the Beamers are doing really well. They're in first, 4th, 5th and 8th at the moment. And there's Serrano in 8th as well. I'll just give a bit of a shout out to Serrano, because we've got a bit of a fan base for Serrano here this evening. So Serrano running P8 at the moment with the 218.4. That is not a shabby lap. That's a fast lap. And again, the Beamer really capable at Spa now. I'm going to make one little change to settings at the end of quali. I race in VR, and this is how narrow I have the on-screen display when I race in VR. Otherwise, I have to look so far to the left to see it, I hit the wall, or the right to see the track map or the relative. So yeah, I'll change it back at the moment. 217s are very quick, and especially since 1.8 went out of the window. I mean, I was able to do 217s on a hot lap in 1.8, Justin, and then since 1.9 I got nowhere near it. Until today, where I pulled my finger out and actually did some proper practice and got myself a setup that actually worked for the Lambo. And I only managed it once, a freak lap to 217.8. Certainly don't think I'll be able to pull out a lap like that in quali, this phase of quali as well. So yeah, it is very quick. So yeah, Gary's done a great job there at the moment. Mr. Cook, though, hot on his heels. So Gary's done a good lap, 218.1, 218.3 for Rich Cook, second in class in Pro-Am, and they are 6th and 7th on the grid at the moment. Race. Let's go back to the basic view there so we can see a little bit more what's going on. Who else is on a good one? There's a few people on good laps here. Let's focus a little bit further down the field in a second. So yeah, Mr. Marsh up there as well in the mix. What's he done so far? 2:17.7. Yeah, I mean, okay, not to depress all of us and try and get fast laps, but Dave Sparks just beaten his best lap. He's done a 2:17.1, 2:17 flat, which is yeah, it's a bit swift. It's swift. 50 kilos ballast for next season, every race. Rich Gasson's on the flyer as well, though he's 0.2 up as well. He's 2:17.5, and he's got the best first sector of everybody so far, only by a fraction, but you know, it's there. Comes round. I'm rubbish at the corners, by the way. I used to call this speaker's corner, but other people call it something else. Stay with Rich for a second. Esports 2:15. Yeah, but I try not to watch esports. I'm depressed enough at my lack of pace. As Rich is 4/10 up on his best, so he's really pushing it. Really pushing it. Lambo. So it looks like we really are knocking on the door of the 16s here for the top 3 at least. Maybe the top 2. Dan Moffat, suspicious by his absence of a 2:17 so far. He's still in 2:18. He might be. He's on a good lap now actually, but let's just stick with Rich Gasol at the moment as he finishes his lap. Fine Empo coming up to the bus stop in a second. Took quite a chunk of curb there. Doesn't look like he disrupted his top speed. Still nearly 4/10 up. Let's see how he gets through the bus stop. Make or break. Looks good. A little bit more. 5/10, half a second up now. See what he can do. This could just get him into pole provisionally. No, he's still P2. And then Sparks behind him. It's on a reasonable lap, but nothing extraordinary. Let's go to Craig Holmes. He's just putting a lap to get him up to P4 on the grid. He was 4/10 up on his best lap. So he is lead in Pro-Am class now in quali with 3 minutes to go. So he is pole in that group. Holmes and Holmberg at the top of Pro-Am for the championship. So he's really making his claim for that position. And I'm looking on the list. We don't have Holmberg, do we? Don't have him here. There may be a reason for that I'm not paying attention to. Somebody might tell me in chat. But yeah, Holmes looking like he can keep this together. I had to go in the Audi the other day, just see what it's like now in the later versions, 290. I was getting similar times to what I get in the Lambo here, which was surprising because I remember it not being able to take curbs anymore, but it seems to have improved a little in the last couple of patches. So yeah, great to see him up there with the 2:17.8. That is stunning for a Pro-Am, isn't it? Stunning time. He's currently ahead of Paul Sims, who's in the Pro category, and Dan Moffat. Dan's putting in a lap now, though. Let's just have a look, see what Dan ends up with at his lap. 2/10 up on his best, so let's forget it's such a long lap. I'm like looking at 1:30 on the clock, thinking, oh, they're nearly at the end of the lap. It's another third of a lap to go. So yeah, Dave Sparks still at the top, 2:17.1, 2:17.2. So literally just 100th in it between him and Rich Gasson. They're just so close on pace. What's Dan got for us here? He took that well. He's picked up another 2/10 there through the last 2 corners through the bus stop. Can he keep it 3/10 up? Should get into second row. Yeah, inside second row. There you go, P4. So I think he'll be pretty happy with that, and gets him crucially just ahead of Craig Holmes as well. So he's battling with the other guys in Pro now as well. Who else is out there having a run at the moment? Car 52 weight. It's on a lap at the moment. Sort of status quo on his time. He's not ahead or behind significantly yet. Brisbane looks like he's a bit late to the party on getting his best laps in. He's now 1/4 of a second up on his best in the AMG. Let's just see what he can do here as he flies down Pouon. Come out to the bus stop now and just see make all break through the bus stop. Looks like a good line. Not slipping there. Looks tidy. 4 tenths up. Can he hold that time? Should get him into the top 10. No, it's Christ, not good enough for the top 10. That, or is it 2:18.7? Okay, 2:18.7. So clearly not Chris's best trap maybe, because usually you expect Chris to be up there battling for top 10 positions. We're nearly out of time in quali, aren't we? So whoever's on a lap now, that's it. There's nobody else going to be coming across for another flyer. Who else is going well? Well, Christopher's a couple of tenths up. He did a 2:19.4. Which, you know, is perfectly respectable lap. There's just some people seriously flying it. I think there's been a bit of sweating at Spa this week for a few too. And of course, a lot of these guys have raced a lot of Spa lately in SIMseniors Endurance. There's just been a lot of races in Endurance. Oh, he's lost it there. Countered that, but he's lost a handful of time there. So that's not going to be a good lap for him. Rios looks late to the party. Let's just have a quick look at Adam now. He's currently P21. I think this is his first lap. This is his first lap. So he must have been late getting to quali. Or not his first, sorry, not his first lap, is it? Time. He's P18. Who else is still left that we can actually look at? Not there. Chris is actually on another good lap here. Thomas is slightly ahead of him, so let's have a look at Thomas Lenatus. So, yeah, still working with the old Ferrari, air quotes old. He's a 1/10.5 up on his best. 2:18.7 is his best, which is pretty good for that car. I knew he wasn't really looking forward to it, but then also put the time in as well. Let's just hope he can convert that. Nearly 4 tenths there. Is he going to push him up a couple of places? P13 currently. Goes up one place to P12, so not there's quite a chunk of people in the 18s there that I mean it's Chris has abandoned that as well. So the only person still out in the lap's Rich Gasson, but he's just lost time on the last couple of corners. He must have overcooked it to into the bus stop there. So that for me, I think that's it for quali. Yeah, let's just look at what we've got here. Who was car 12 outburst in chat? Thomas. I hope I haven't listened, but I hope he's joking. Right, so great quali. I mean, those times, that's just stunning, isn't it? Sparks and Gasson absolutely going at it there. 2:17.1 and 2:17.2 respectively. Super fast times. Marsh there with an almost achievable lap for the rest of us mortal beings. 2:17.7. And then it's dead close from there because it goes 2:17.7 to 2:18.7 covers the next 10 places. So it's that close. And fairly reflective, I guess, of the championship because you've got Sparks and Gasson with a bit of a lead and then everyone else dead close. So it's going to be a cracking final race. Let's just go back to the start screen so we can see that championship position. So as I mentioned, you got Gasson and Moffat on 372 points respectively. And then behind, like a 50-point gap behind is, let's just go back to it in a second, hold on. We've got Sparks, Marsh, Sims, Molino, Bourne. Horse Leonard's not here either. Kamara's doesn't seem to be here either. And then yeah, a couple of others after that. And sorry, I'm not showing the bottom of the right there. And then we've got Holmberg, Holmes, and an artist. Now, Holmberg doesn't seem to be here. Which, again, there may be, I don't know if he's a ban or if he's just missed the race. I don't know. But looks like if Holmes can hold it together, he can win the AM Championship tonight because they're very close on point. But again, look, Thomas, Gary, Richard, they're all dead close behind. It's 60-odd points for a win. So, yeah, it's really down to how well they race tonight and can they hold it together on track. Otherwise, they can get leapfrogged really quickly. So it's going to be interesting. And there's no way I'm going to be able to keep track of who's in front of who in the championship. So don't expect that of me because it won't happen. Certainly by the end of the race, we'll have to just look on the Discord and see how everything pans out. And of course, we'll have the stewards doing their work as well. So that is done too. So what we got in chat? Anything there? Yeah. Yeah, you're right. Not far off the aliens. A low 2:17 in quali is perfectly reasonable, competitive, serious time, and so it should be. I know that Sparks and others, they do race in a lot of leagues, so they're super fast guys. and I don't have patience or the hours to put in to get to 0217. I'd love to say. Cool. So what are we left with? We've still got 22 guys on track. I'm just looking to see if any of the guys at Miss Quali have turned up. We got one more, I think, that is. Let me get back to the live view. And hold on a second. It's a really weird camera, isn't it? I mean, what is the game doing? Doing game. Right. Let's have a look from Helicam. Just makes. Oh, and that was it. I was going to sort out my HUD, wasn't I? So give me 1 second here, folks, whilst I. That. Something like that. 75. Your uncle. Right, sorted, he says. Right, let's get back to business. So yeah, let's have a little look. So front row, we got Sparks and Gasson leading the field. Let's hope. Last week had a bit of a shocker, didn't we? Because Sparks got, was it Sparks who got the drive through for the incorrect start? Gasson had a spin on lap one. I looked back on it, and it was one of those really annoying spins where you just end up 90 degrees to the wall without much damage, but you can't reverse back onto track because you hit somebody, so you just sit there and wait for eternity to get back on track. So that was a mare for him. He did an amazing job, though, of fighting back to, was it P7, P8, something like that, from the absolute back. That's fantastic. And I think Sparks also got fastest lap last week after having to do the drive-through as well. So, you know, there was still points there to be had, even after pretty awful starts for the two of them. So we're off for the install lap now, which can last about 3 hours 20 minutes at Spa. So just looking down the top 10, front row, Sparks Gasson, row 2, Marsh, Moffat, row 3, Holmes, first in class for Pro-Am, next to Sims, then row 4 is Barham and Cook, both in the Pro-Am category, but again, had a lot of time at Spa recently, they are fast here, so it'd be good. Serrano 9th and Colin McNair, fellow admin, in P10. Hoping to put in a good showing tonight. I didn't see his time, but I think it's a pretty respectable time as well. Then we're moving down to Waite and Lenatis, who are 11 and 12 respectively. Ascombe, Brown, Bourne, McNair, Jordan, John Gabbert, Adam Rios, who put in P18 near the end there as well. Marcus for Robert Homer, Murch Ponoff in 21st, and Derek Neve in 22nd. So 22 drivers, all putting in perfectly respectable, if not stunning times, and some really stunning times there, I think, all the way through the top 10, really competitive. This could be a cracker, so let's hope for the best. I need to take a breather. This could be long, isn't it? I find Justin a good comment. Too wide into Eau Rouge works perfectly well. It just doesn't work through and then out of Radion, does it? Sorry. It's yeah, a mess. So it can work, but it can severe. I've from what I've seen, what happens is if the front couple of rows go too wide through Eau Rouge, it's often not them that really suffer, it's the concertina effect behind them, because people aren't expecting to lift or even drop a gear through Eau Rouge, and it can really, really mess things up. It's a good point, Steve Howells. Dude Champions win SIMseniors t-shirt. We're not quite there on a formal arranged t-shirt yet. That's your problem. But I think there will definitely be something that Colin and I will be looked to be sending out to the championship winners. Some kind of token. It's nice to have a physical artifact for our virtual success, I would say, if you look at it that way. So it'd be nice. I just think we'll have to do it retrospectively. And I know what you're angling for, because you're looking for one tomorrow, aren't you? That's what it's all about. You want a prize as well. Where's my prize? Where is it? Get you embroidered luggage. SIMseniors tea towel. What can we get that's slightly tongue-in-cheek. Yeah. So yeah, we've been trying out a couple of the t-shirts and with sort of seeing what the logos look like embroidered and stuff, and they're looking pretty good so far. So we're just trying to get it at the point where all of the digital assets have been rendered to the point where they don't charge us a fortune every time you print them. Yeah, Steve. Tea-towel coming your way. SIMseniors tea-towel. All right, Simon. Good to see you in the chat. Pringles at the ready, and the popcorn for the drama as well. Right, what do I need to do on view? Let's have a look at this. Let's focus on... I'm going to go head of Pro-Am, which is Mr. Holmes in P5 in the race. We'll start watching him, and we'll do it from Helicam, just so we get the best possible view. I will jump back if there's a particular need to, but I will also... I missed an opportunity last week. Didn't see, did I, what happened to Sparks and Gasson in lap 1 because I was too busy looking back. So maybe I won't be doing that quite so much this week, just so I get a better view of what's going on in the race. So here we go. We're all so oddly out of position. What is going on for Dave Sparks? He's just really hanging back, trying not to get a DT. Oh, we've got another corner to go yet. Jumping the gun. Who's that starting from the pits? Car number 3. Paul Sims. What happened, Paul Sims? Press drive. Something. What was the deal? Oh no, what a nightmare for him. He's going to have a drive of his life if he's going to get onto that podium for the championship. And he's in the mix as well. He must be gutted. You're right, Sims in the pits, which has messed up row 3, but gives Craig a bit, well, actually, it gives the AMG a bit of a run-up, doesn't it, Richard Cook? Let's see how this pans out. Here we go, and we're green. Sparks starting quite central in the track there. Hopefully that doesn't mean a drive-through for him. Rio Rouge, we're looking clean so far. There's a little... Ooh, Colin nearly came together there with the other BMW. It's Barres. Who's that in the other? Was Gary Barham, yeah. All clean so far. Let's see how that pans out. I'm not showing yellow on my screen anybody just yet. Let's see under braking. This is tight there towards sort of P12 to 14. Looking okay. Stick with the action. We'll get down to TV1. Craig Holmes under a load of pressure now from Colin McNair. On lap 1, Colin really looking really racy in the BMW right from the outset, where the Audi maybe a little bit skittish through those mid-speed corners. Let's pop to the front, just see if Sparks and Gasson are battling away here. Looks fairly much like formation flying at the minute. Cook chasing down Marsh is the closest battle in the top 10, I think, at the moment. Yeah, all looking pretty clean. A bit chuggy on my screen. Let me know in the stream if it's the stream's a little bit laggy. Try and do something about it. I don't know what, but try and do something. Marsh running wide there. He's going to get, well, we'll see if he gets he's had a warning for that, possibly. But, you know, you take that on lap 1 because everything's just so close, isn't it? You don't want to give up that position too early in a race. A look at the front, back to Sparks and Gasson. See how we look under braking. The Lambo's awesome under braking at this bus stop with the engine braking. Again, the Beamers look really strong here, don't they? They look big. Clean so far. Oh, Jordan McNair, something's happened there. He's had a bit of a knock or a spin. He's just popped back just a few seconds away. He's coming from the back, braking, probably braking at his normal marker there and not expecting the concertina effect. Luckily managed to thread the needle there and not collect anybody with him on the way through the bus stop. I think he'd be giving one of those places back. Okay, let's get back up to the front of the field because Gasson and Sparks still really close here at the moment, within tow distance. Sparks, as you'd expect, setting the fastest first lap. Paul Sims taking it easy at the moment. He's gone up 1 place to P21 from 22, but Yeah, gutting for him. There's been an incident. There's been a big incident here. Let's go back and see what actually happened, involving Rios, Jordan McNair and a few others. Let's just see what happened. Oh, Rios braking really late there, out braking himself. He's gone wide, but what's happened behind him? We've got a spinner in the other Porsche and a nudge on that Porsche as well. So it's all nearer the back of the field, but that collected 3 or 4 guys there as well. So it was Homer, Rob Homer and Rich Askham, I think, were collected up in that as well. So they've continued, they're still racing, but obviously compromised and pushed back down the field at that point. Top 10 is still unchanged. Who's the movers and shakers at the moment in the top 10? Colin McNair is P7, so he's moving. He moved his way up through. No, he's still chasing Craig Holmes. It's a close battle here between Barham and Thomas Mumbles Lenatis. Looking like he's got that Ferrari under him now, and he's really hunting down the BMW, which is not slow in a straight line anymore. Look at it go. Right. Still love that livery on Gaz's car. It's a very nice looking vehicle. Thomas showing him something different there on the braking into the bus stop. Gary nice and tidy through there. Thomas really closing up. That Ferrari just seems to be very good at holding its line through the slow corners. So very close battle here. Let's see how this plan pays out for him. Let's get a bit bonnet cam, shall we, on Thomas. So again, they're close up behind Colin as well. I'll jump back to the... Oh, this is very close at the front as well, but I'll stick here for now. Super close. We've got to go actually up the hill and see what's going on here. These guys are really very close coming up the hill. Jump back to Thomas in a second. Just see they make it up the top of the hill through the corner safely. They march there, braking nice and late. Let's just see how Thomas... Yeah, he's lost a bit of speed. Lost a bit through Eau Rouge and up the hill then, Gary. So not as close as he was. Was is close. Let's just jump a little bit further down the field. So P11 is Waite at the moment, and he's got Serrano 0.5 behind him. Again, the BMW looking really strong here. A really good car to drive here. Then there's a bit of a jump down to Rios and Co, Paunoff, Jordan McNair, John Gabbett, Chris Bourne, Paul Sims now to P18 courtesy of that incident we just saw. And then it's Christopher Homer, Neat and Askham. Got to get back to the front because it is super close. I might watch it from the perspective of Dan Moffat's bonnet. Well, they've all sunk in the ground now, it's fine now. And just see where we get to. So, okay, we're 2/3 of the way through the lap. Let's just see who gets the exit. To the back strata pill. Corners. Don't know my corners. Okay. Yeah, Dan didn't get the best exit there, but Rich Gasson, don't know, he's looking very capable of staying with Dave Sparks, but that's happened before, and then Dave ramps it up a gear. Rich is looking classy as well this evening. Both of them already running mid to low 219s. Dan really late on the brakes there. Dave Marsh putting him under pressure. How close is it? Oh no, he's let him off. Okay. Let's just have a look from Rich Gasson's bonnet. See where he's strong and where he's not. And I'm keeping an eye out for any yellows or any movers and shakers. Chris Bourne's just taken John Gabbett. Oh, nobody's spun. Oh, they've had an incident. So he must have gone up the inside of him and they must have clashed just after that. Let's have a quick look before we jump back. Ooh. Oh, I see. Yeah, so John ran deep. Oh, no, he's come back and he's gone straight over the sausage and clattered Chris Bourne there. T-boned him at low speed. Really unfortunate. Chris has made it back up and running again, but that's massively compromised what was already probably not the race he was thoroughly looking forward to. So yeah, it's unfortunate there for Chris Bourne. He looked like he was really getting his act together, getting his pace, and then hard done by, sure. These guys here, let's go back to the battle of Colin McNair now in P7. I'll go back to the front when it gets close, but yeah, it's a good fight here, isn't it? Got Colin P7 behind Craig. Craig pulling the gap on in leader. Actually, no, he's not leading Pro-Am category. I have missed the event that was Rich Cook taking P1 in Pro-Am race at the moment, and he's 1.3 ahead of Holmes. But I'll just stick with this for a second. Gary looking really fast through there, but won't be able to launch it up the inside there. That is not an overtaking opportunity. He's just going to be trying to set himself up as best possible for sector 3, but maybe a pass into or before the bus stop. Thomas getting really sideways there. That Ferrari looking like a real handful. Maybe the tyres not quite where he needs them to be, or maybe he's just pushing super hard to stay with these guys. But he's in the mix. He's definitely in the action. Gary looks like he got a fab exit there, but don't know if it's going to be enough to take the other BMW. Let's see if he shows him. Oh, Gary, pull it back. Gary's gone. No, he's had it. Oh, he lost the back end and he just couldn't bring it back. It looked like, for a second there, looked like it was going to be an impressive Tokyo Drift moment, but just couldn't bring it back. Probably if he tried to, it would have snapped on him. So maybe took the lesser of two evils and just let it drift off to the left. Took a tiny bit of grass and wall there, and lives to fight another day. But yeah, he looks super close there as well. I think he's probably thinking about breaking into the bus stop rather than the fact that he had no aero downforce because he was following so closely. Super close. I'm just going to nip back to Gasson because again, coming up the hill, he is super close again now. Maybe 0.3, 0.2, but he's not the kind of guy, I don't think, he's just going to send it up the inside and hope for the best. He's going to look for a real opportunity and wait for Sparks maybe to make a mistake, which I'm not going to say it, but he's looking pretty solid right now. His laps are consistently low 219s now. Rich Gasson though, in race trim with fuel, 218.8 on his previous lap, so he's absolutely flying. He's really pulling it out of the bag, and in a sense they're starting to drop P3 down now because Dan's last lap 219.4, as was Dave Marsh's. Rich Cook 219.5, etc, etc, sort of gaps 10th from there onwards. Oh, what's going on? It's running outside. It looks like Sparks made a mistake there whilst I was looking at the timing board. Held it together enough to keep Gasson behind him, but certainly was a serious opportunity. He must have run wide. All there. Let's just try and see this from a more beneficial. TV cameras aren't so good at Spa, are they? They're just too close. Yeah, that looked like a real, at least a half chance there, wasn't it, for Rich Gasson? It's a Sparks error of some form, a minor one. Gives Dan and Dan Moffat and Dave March a chance maybe to close up then if these two are battling that. Dave Sparks starting to look at his mirrors rather than just focused on his best lap. Let's see what he does here. It definitely was a mistake, so I'm expecting a mid-19. And oh, high 19, 19.8 for both of them. 19.2 for Dan Moffat, so he's able to get half a second back just when they really were looking like they were starting to drop E3 downwards. Wow, Rich had a moment there where either it was a bit of lag or he generally was on the power that early out of T1. Surely he's got him lined up here. There's got to be an opportunity if he can just get through it clean. No, he's got a bit ragged on. Didn't quite get the first apex, did he, at Eau Rouge? He's still close. It's the same as last lap though, isn't it? I mean, it's whether he's yeah, he's just giving him a little view. So, oh, I am. E2, I'm after you. Look at that, just like that, it's closed right back up again, top 4. Let's have a look back here at Serrano and Rios. It's super close. Adams pulled it back together after his earlier, went long there. He went gone deep again here. And a discretion, the better part of Valer there, he just keeps it wide rather than risk potentially nicking Serrano there, I think. So it's good driving, but again, he's just really late on the brakes there, which is probably his marks, but just looks a bit close every time, doesn't it? Let's have a couple of close-ups of the cars and see what we out there. So the gaps from P5 now, so from Cook downwards, they're all at about a second, right down to P8, 9, turn to Thomas in P8. and then P9's 0.5 behind him. So it looks like it's sort of stabilised a bit here. Maybe it's actually that moment of realisation for a lot of the guys that, hold on a minute, still 46 minutes to go in this race. And they're fighting like it's a 35-minute sprint, which is what we're used to, of course. So yeah, it's a little bit different to the usual format. And maybe people realising that easing off a bit, saving those tyres, there are going to be some very used tyres, aren't there, in the last 15-20 minutes of this race. And those that haven't looked after them, or those with cars that don't look after them so well, really going to be feeling the pinch, I think. Dare say also those with a bit of endurance experience are also going to have the advantage. Used to running 1 hour stints, used to running a set of rubber and looking after for the hour. So the likes of Sparks, Gasol, Moffat, Mr. Cook, Nair, they've all been, Gary Barham going down the field, Gary Barham, Paul Sims, they've all been running endurance lately, and they've run it at Spa, so they're used to doing a full hour race, something they're quite comfortable doing. I think Rios has taken Brown for 11. I'm not sure if that's position or he lost position and got it back. I'm not paying attention. Yeah, he lost position. Yeah, because he was up right behind Serrano. Everyone really tight through a region. It's a good battle actually here. Let's just look. So these guys are all in, not in class. Serrano isn't in class. He's in pro. But the pro-ams here are really chasing him down, and they're fighting hard. So they'll be wanting to get past him. And oh, Serrano's gone really deep there and forced Rios off the track. I'm sure Adam's got a few polite terms he's dishing out on his stream now for that move. But again, to be honest, both of them just breaking really late at the top of the hill, struggling to get around Paolo Serrano's car. Definitely a bit squirmy there. The back tyres look pretty toasty. Rios is passed, and that's Rios for P10. Some good driving there from Adam. It's some good pressure. It was forced wide, he held it together and he made it back and took the place. So well driven, sir. Just going to pop up to Colin McNair in P7. He's back under pressure from Thomas and Artis. After Gary dropped off on the back straight, it's given Thomas a chance to slowly but surely catch up to the back of Colin again. So maybe I'll stay on this for a second whilst the gaps are a bit bigger at the front. Just for some manufactured excitement, let's have bonnet cam again. And what we should have bonnet cam, and I'll shut up because it's the old Ferrari and it sounds like this. Literally sounds like it's going to rip its engine out of the back of the car and just fly out onto the track. It's a fantastic noise. You're driving it on a warm-up lap and it sounds like you're absolutely wrecking it. Brilliant. Did try driving this car for my sins for when I first played this game. It's not very forgiving. Dan Moffat, the silent assassin that he is in P3, has put in the fastest lap of the race. So again, endurance experience, he's just backed off, taking his time, probably not overdoing his tyres, and now he's put in a 2:18.7, which is that just beats Dave Sparks' best lap from earlier in the race. So nearly 20 minutes into the race, on slightly lower fuel, even with slightly worn tyres, Dan put in a stunningly good lap. Which means when we jump to him now, suddenly Rich Gasson's not hunting, he's being hunted. giving Sparks the breathing room that he loves. He's had this a couple of times in the past. It's a shame if we don't get to see these guys really putting the pressure on Dave for the rest of this race. I'd rather see these gaps stay as they are and be competitive at the front, but you can't manufacture it, hey? Can't add ballast mid-race, can I? Can I? Maybe. He isn't silent, Roger, to be, but he's softly spoken, isn't he? He's like, it's that bloke at the pub that you go, oh, I never thought it would be him. Ran down the street with a baseball bat. He's that guy. He's yeah, and he's a massive wind-up merchant at the same time. This is all true. He's a terrible person. I don't know why I said anything nice about him at all. Absolutely horrendous guy. And he's faster than me, which is what really makes him. He put in the last lap. Okay, 2:19.5 in the last lap, so. Oh, and we've got a. Apologies, I can't see on screen who that is, but we've got back marker getting out of the way there. Will they get out of Dan's way? No need to just yet. That's good. Dan's lost a good half a second there though, hasn't he? Just caught him at the wrong point. Let's see how quickly he can make it up. That's a good indicator of his pace, isn't it? Get back up onto the back of Gaston in the next half a lap, and then that shows you where he is on how he feels with the car. Dave Sparks decided that he didn't like Dan Moffat having the fastest lap, by the way, and he's done a 2:18.4 just for giggles, probably. But yeah, absolutely flying now. And again, because Gaston's giving him that little bit of breathing room, Sparks able to focus ahead of himself rather than in his mirrors. Really putting the hammer down, 2:18.4. Rich's last lap wasn't great, 2:19. I said not great, 2:19.3 in race trim. It's pretty good, but not close. He lost 3/10 on that last lap. Sorry, 3/4 of a second, 7.78. What's Dan doing? 2:19.5. Sparks' last lap was pretty good. It was invalid somewhere, but it was still a 2:19.2. Gaston's was quicker, 2:19.0. Anyway, won't just keep reading numbers, mate. You will actually look at what's going on the track, because just behind Moffat, in the cheeky Porsche, is Mr. Marsh. Also running at really good pace, about a 10th quicker on the last lap. And in the slip now, which is something you really like to be in when you Porsche. So top four now have really broken away from the rest of the field. 5-second gap to Richard Cook, who's leader in Pro-Am class. So the race really settling down now that we're approaching the halfway. 5 seconds to Cook. Then that battle, everyone pretty well spaced out at the moment, about 1 second to 2 seconds apart. The only person challenging between P5 and P15 at the moment, P12, is Weight on Thomas and Artis. I'll nip back to them actually. Weight is not far behind in Artis. Thomas, again, doing a great job in the old Ferrari on this track, but it can't be easy, especially in a longer race. I don't think it's quite on rails. I think you're fighting it quite hard. So Wait's there, and then there's a big gap of 6 seconds to Rios behind Wait in 10. And Serrano's dropped off the back of that. Serrano's had an incident. He's lost. He's gone wide. Oh no, he's tried to put the power down to get back on track. Didn't work. So I think it was just he was too late on the brakes. Catch the curb. No. Oh, the back went a bit, and then the front snapped. Tries to bring it back, but somehow, what's he done? Oh, he's just put the power down too early and he spun it. Oh, that's disastrous for him. He was having a great race. He's back on track. He's P12, so he's P15 now. Oh, that's desperate for him. Hopefully he can just pull it back together and keep those positions. But yeah, because he's in the pro category. That is tough, because as much as he's on track P15, he's running last position in the pro category at the moment, so that is tough. That is tough for him. Let's just have a look at the Pro-Am race, because Rich Cook now is not only ahead of Holmes, which I missed, which is my form, of course, because that's what I do, but he's really flying, and he's pulling a gap on Craig Holmes, 2.5 seconds, to get a very good turn one, and he's done a best lap of 2:19, which is only a second off Dave Sparks, and only half a second off sort of P4 speed as well. So yeah, they're all running great. But yeah, so Rich Cook, and then just behind him is Craig Holmes. Try and chase him down, or at least keep with him. Colin McNair at equal distance behind, and then Lenatis on McNair, still pushing hard to try and catch him there. And then he's got a pro of weight behind him, Thomas. So I don't know what Thomas's incentive is to push, to be honest, because unless he can get from P9 all the way up to P4, he's not going to get any more points in a pro category. That's just because the all guys ahead of him are all in the pro arm. But it looks like Paolo's had another incident. I won't jump to him to save his blushes, but he's now running P18. He's probably given up the will to live. But yeah, not having his. He's had such a good first half of the race as well. That was a shame for him. It was. Okay, gaps at the front are pretty stable now. Yeah, as predicted, Dave Sparks has got a 2-second lead on Gasson now. He's done a 2:18.4, which kind of broke that toe, I guess. Left Rich in the clutches of Dan Moffat. He's only a second behind. Dave March in P4. Of course, we're watching this battle, which is battle for P7. Colin McNair in P7 at the moment. Realistically, he could still be chasing down for second in class tonight, Colin. Craig's only 2.4 ahead of him in an Audi that we know passed just over an hour. Really likes to eat tyres quite aggressively second half hour. So things could come back to Colin if he can just keep Thomas and keep Lenatis and weight at bay behind him. It's a big gap back to Rios. Let's just have a little bit of a look further back in P15. Got Jordan McNair. Remember, there's an incident early on, wasn't there? Lap 3 or 4 that pushed, made a big gap to these guys. But ahead of him, we've got Gary Barham. Yeah, Gary Barham. Yeah, big gap then down to Jordan McNair, Robert Homer. Shout out to these guys, still racing, still putting in their best laps, I think. Askham, Serrano, obviously he's, fallen from grace really, but he's still racing. Neve, and then Christopher at the back as well, is obviously not having a great race tonight either, but let's nip back to front. Sparks with clear track in front and behind him now. Lenatis got McNair. I've missed it. Let's get back 30 seconds and see what happened. So you want this on helicam or bonnet cam? I think we'll leave it on helicam. I think it's going to be... Oh, Collins pushed it wide there. I think he kept his foot in, but he lost momentum just through going wide. Gives Thomas a really good... He's still a long way off. He can't have jumped on him at the top of the hill. It must have been another... What's Collins done here? I bet he slid out of it. Yep, he's lost the back end there. Gives Thomas the inside line. Gives him that position. And Thomas... definitely taking advantage up there. It looks like probably Collins' tyres are running a bit toasty right now, which means he's also under pressure from Waite, who could let go, to be honest, because he's got then a 7-second gap to Rios behind him. So doesn't need to worry about that for position, because Waite is in the pro category, doesn't matter to him. So maybe Waite wants to push by. We'll see how that goes. Let's just stick with him a second. Moffat and Marsh actually battling ahead. I'm going to jump to that right now. Coming down into the bus stop. So second, third and fourth now with Sparks with that gap. It's pushed up to 3.7 now. So yeah, he's made that breakaway. Kind of saw it coming whilst when he got his fastest lap. He's done, last lap he's done a 2:18.1. 2:18.19, so 2:18.2 Sparks. So he's really put the hammer down. He's got the gap, he's able to focus on what he's doing, and he's putting in his best laps. Gasson, Moffat and Marsh at the other end of the spectrum putting in some of their slower laps. They're a good second off where they were, so they must have been battling on that lap as well, because they're sort of looking at the mid to high 219s. So every lap at this rate, unless they work together or don't bother each other, Sparks is going to be getting up to a second a lap. It's kind of inevitable unless they can really not be battling, kind of have a on-track agreement to try and hunt down Sparks. But it's a race. They all want to win. They all want to get up ahead of each other. Sparks looking good actually. It's almost like Dan's lost a bit of his front end traction at the moment. This phase of the race. It might come back to him. But the Porsche looking better than it has the earlier part of the race. Is Waite's Ferrari the same number as Thomas's? Well, no. Waite is 52.52. There you go. We'll be having words. Be banned for life. And again, Dan now being under a bit of pressure means that Rich is able to get the hammer down a bit. What's his sectors looking like? He's on an invalid lap, but all the same. Can't see the sector time. He's looking pretty good. Derek Neve's just taken Jordan. Oh, Jordan's in the pits. Jordan's pitted. So maybe some damage he needs to sort out. I didn't see a drive-through. Oh, this is looking good for Sparks. Really got the run on Moffat. He's having to go wide. He's going on the outside. Will he get the switch back? Cheeky cut back on Dan. No, Dan's wise to it. Just puts his BMW exactly where it needs to be. And Marsh looks to another lap and maybe another place to try and make that work. It's a good lap from him. Yeah, the last lap was a few tenths quicker for Gasson. Moffat and Marsh now really compromising each other. They're into the low 220s. That's how much difference it makes when they're battling that hard. So let's just move our way down the pack a little bit whilst we're just see that Marsh doesn't get any closer. Hill. Oh wow, he's taking a really aggressive line there through a rouge. He's close, but I don't think he's close enough to push him there. Let's just have a little bit of a look down. So it's a big gap back now to the leader of Pro-Am, which is Rich Cook in the AMG. He's running sort of mid 219s to, oh sorry, he's running as 220 flat. Holmes is still keeping him honest in Audi, but again he's running 220 flat as well. Thomas Lenatis is running a little bit quicker than those two guys, a couple of tenths a lap. So it's a possibility he could reel them in. Colin McNair's got it back together after that bit of a slippy section on the previous lap or two that probably really heated up those rears, made the car a little bit unmanageable, but he's not lost the position to Wait. It's just behind him. Then behind them, let's move to a different camera. Big gap, 6.6 seconds to Rios. It looks really lonely there in the Super Bronco. So 6.6 to Rios. Paul Sims has dragged it from back, starting from the pits to P11. So shout out to Paul Sims. Perfectly respectable laps. They're not his, possibly not his fastest, but 219.4 is his best. And he's running consistent 219s, which is why he's moving his way up through the field. Looks like he's got a little bit of front end damage. I could be mistaken. It looks like it to me. Have a look on TV1, just see what we... Yeah, he's had a bit of a nick at the front, hasn't he? He's had a front end collision somewhere, which we've missed. Let's just nip through then. So we had Rios in P10, Sims in 11, and then a couple of seconds behind is Brown, and then we've got Murch in P13, Barham 14, 2 seconds behind that. Then we're looking at a big old gap of 17 seconds down to Omer. Rich Askham, Serrano, another chunk behind them after he had the issues that he had a few mid of the race. Neve, Christopher, and then Jordan McNair, who is in the pits. Okay, so let's have a look back to Sparks. So what have we got? Last lap he did was a 2:18.7 as well. He's not letting off the pressure. So that's still 4-5 tenths a lap quicker than Gasson and Moffat are able to pull out at the moment. Gasson just behind him as well, but a fair few seconds now. We're looking at 5 seconds. Just have Ed Brown's had something happen, but nothing too dramatic. Maybe just a little bit of an off track. Oh, that is a disconnect. Back to the Future. Where we're going. We don't need roads. And he's back. That is absolutely bizarre. How can he still... I've never seen a disconnect like that then reconnects. I've seen a few laggy moments, but that was remarkable. So I'm glad we caught that on stream. It's quite spectacular. It's better when they go into the trees. It adds an air of mystery. It reminds me of watching E.T. But no, it didn't happen that time. But that was something else. The game picked it up as a yellow flag because obviously it was a little bit off track, as in vertically. But yeah, strange stuff. Strange happening. But now it looks like Wade does want to get past Colin. We're certainly pushing him. He's only a couple of tenths behind. The lead for Sparks now 5.2 over Gasson. Then they are pretty much line astern behind that, with some gaps of sort of 2 seconds, 1 to 2 seconds between third and fourth. This is the closest battle on the track. Ed Brown is being chased down by Murch Paunov in P13 as well. They're in different classes. Looks like Waite's really looking racy. Colin would be wise to just... Well, I don't know if Colin could work out quite where he was going to go then, as in where Waite was going to go. But Colin looks fairly determined to keep the on-track position, so he's going to make him earn it. But this is giving Thomas a gap in front as well, because again, Colin under pressure means Thomas 2 seconds up the road from him now, in relatively near air, and he is chasing down Craig Holmes. So looking in class, and importantly, so we know what's happening in the pros. In the Pro-Ams, Rich Cook is up there and he's got 7-8 second lead over Craig Holmes. Oh no, he hasn't. What am I talking about? Craig Holmes is 1.6 behind. Sorry, he is 7 or 8 seconds behind Pete. Then we got Holmes chasing him down, but Thomas, you can see visibly there, is in the hunt as well. So he is 2 point. Let's keep an eye on that gap. He's 2 seconds behind at the moment. Cook is up there, but you can see the three of them here. They are the podium, the Pro-Am podium. So maybe we stick with this for a little while, just see how this pans out. I'll take a breather. It's just a long race. It's a long... Oh, anyone in chat got any gossip? Hit the way. Anything interesting? I will need to get more water before this race is out. Still got 20 on track, but the gaps now. Just gonna nick to Colin again under pressure. Wait, really looks like he's got them. Surely he's got to make it with this lap. Is he going to go around the outside? He's going to be brave. No, it's cut back in. Colin's gone wide. Kept his foot in, so maybe gets a warning on that. Wait, really late on the brakes and off the track. So yeah, that wasn't quite the breaking point for him, but I think frustration there got the better of him, because Colin just absolutely holding his line, holding his pace, and Wait there just sort of getting frustrated, outbraking himself, dropping back a little bit again. So let's get back to our battle for the Pro-Am podium. So Richard Cook in P1 and Pro-Am taking a few liberties through Overeach there. Craig Holmes just up behind him as well. Again, that gap's been consistent all races, kept him totally honest. And then Lenatis now 1.8 behind, so he's gaining a couple of tenths a lap. He can get in the toe of that Audi, which is super fast in a straight line. I think he's going to be battling for second, if not first. Fast. Remember, it's a long race. It's 20 minutes to go. 22 minutes to go. Yeah, very late braking, Steve. Some would say not braking. It was definitely braking. Just maybe 50 yards later than needed to. It's good that he got it stopped. Good on him. But yeah. Yeah, in fact, it is a great defensive drive, and it's absolutely Colin's right to do that. They're still in the same race. It doesn't matter if you're a different category. Unless you're being lapped, why would you get out of anyone's way? You know, unless they were giving you free sim rig wheelbase, or they were like, yeah, it's the other way around. They were admin giving you some t-shirts or something. And that would be blackmail, and I wouldn't advocate any form. PO box for checks gives. So yeah, it's a good battle. I think he'll be catching him up again. Wait, he's 2 seconds behind Colin, but I imagine he's. Okay. Suspiciously quiet from positions 2 to 4, by the way. Rich Gasson seems to just be holding the gap to Dan Moffat, which just look at their laps. I tell you, they're both going pretty fast. They're back in the low 19s again. Rich Gasson's kind of ebbed and flowed a little, hasn't he? But he's back near his fastest lap. But I mean, just looking at the times, being realistic, Gasson's been doing his best laps 2:18.8 in a race, which is good. Very fast. He is very fast. Dave Sparks' best lap is 0.6 faster than that in the race. So you just get the feeling that when push comes to shove, if he needs to, Dave can put the power down and just get an extra quarter or half a second. Yeah, so this is a really good point, Peter, and I'm really glad you've asked. At the same time, I dread it because I'm rubbish at working stuff out. As things stand, it's a shame the scoreboard can't tell us that. As things stand, oh God, I'm going to die now, aren't I, trying to work this out. Right, I'm going to have a look. I'm having a look. As things stand. Yes. Yes, Rich Gasson will be champion. So maybe he's got that in mind as well. If he can just hold P2. The main thing he can't do is let Dan Moffat past him. So that is a very good point. This battle between second and third is everything in this championship by a long way. So they are. I don't need the calculator, Steve, because Rich Gasson's on 372 points and Dan Moffat is on 372 points. So even I can work that one out. If they don't get penalties and finish where they are, Gasson wins the championship. If either of them get penalties or they swap positions, it's tables turned. Either way, both of them need to drop below P10 for Dave Sparks to win the championship. That's the reality. So, to be fair, I've just been being a bit thick, haven't I? And Rich Gasson is probably sat there saying, well, this is fine. Because he's got under pressure. You're all right, Peter. I'm just kidding. Just kidding. It's good to put me under pressure. I haven't worked for 3 months. I haven't used my brain. It's literally turning to like blancmange or something. It's pathetic. I mean, between the Pringles and the lack of work-based challenge, yeah, I'm just becoming sort of, I don't know. There's a word for it, like tired. Except I'm too young to retire. I've got to go back to work at some point. I've been told I have to go back at some point, which is, you know, I mean, it's a crying shame at the end of the day, no matter how much you like your job. It's nice being at home watching sim races and catching up on box sets. A lot of box sets I've missed over the last few years, to be fair. I mean, this is a guy that still hasn't ever watched all of The Sopranos. So yeah, it's anyway, yeah, back to the race. Rich Gasson is championship leader as it stands and will win a championship as it stands by sort of 5 or so points from Dan Moffat. Let me have a cheeky look at the points reference. First place 63, second 58, third 53, fourth 48. So the points are really close the way they're distributed. You've got to shuffle that up for next season, actually, because it's still almost too many points, because it's points paying right down to the last position in class at the moment. So, yeah, Rich Gasson knows if he can keep it ahead of Dan Moffat. I wonder if Dan Moffat, well, he must be aware, he's going to be aware, isn't he, that if he doesn't get ahead of Gasson, that's the championship gone, and he's P2 in championship. So where is Dan now? He's 2.8 behind with 16 minutes to go. That is not insurmountable, but as I said, I think about 10 minutes ago, Dan just looked like he didn't have the front end on that car that he did for the first sort of 10 laps. So Waite has just got past McNair, so I don't know if it was an easy part. He's very close. Yeah, I think he's just seen the inside. So yeah, found somewhere else. Under braking. Did brake that time. Definitely braked. I mean, he's on the track. He's not gone off onto the off-road overtaking area, and he's kept it there. And Colin's gone, yeah, fair play, whatever. He's fine. Colin will be happy. He's a happy guy. He's just got new pedals as well. He's going to be doubly happy. It's just, it's a no end to the happiness. By the way, there'll be some pedals up for sale shortly. Some Wisenfeld Sprints, excellent condition, only used for a few months before being religiously and obsessively upgraded. Speak to Colin. Okay, so yeah, Trevor's ahead of that. Office under pressure from Marsh. This is a problem for Dan. I mean, his battle isn't with... I'm going to have to look again. I'm going to have to look again. Right, Dave Marsh. Yeah, he's on 290 points for the championship, so he's well behind. He's well behind Dan and Rich. So in a sense, Moffat, Dan's there sitting there going, "I just wish he'd back off and let me catch up." They'd have half a chance. So yeah, let's see what Dan can actually do for the rest of this race. But it is fascinating. As much as they're not super close, it's all to play for. And one mistake from any of these guys could completely flip the result at the top of the table for the season. Dave Sparks' best lap still a 2:18.1. I don't know if he's going to try and better that now. He's got a lovely gap of 8 seconds to Rich Gasson. He's out, he's gone. He's way ahead, but obviously not going to win the championship unless catastrophic things happen to Rich Gasson and Dan Moffat. And I said that, didn't I? I just said it because I'm a stupid person that commentates and forgets that you have power to curse. You can curse an entire race. And I have done it before. So, touch wood, I'll take it back. Let's consider that they'll carry on driving consistently. It's still very similar positions in the Pro-Am category, but look at the gaps. They're closing up. Craig Holmes has probably realised that he's getting hunted down by Thomas and has put his foot down a little bit. Rich Cook may be a little surprised, so he's gained a second on Rich Cook. And in turn, Thomas has gone with Craig. He's well in that mix now. He's in the battle. So again, a podium in the Pro-Am category. I know what you're going to ask. I'm going to have to look at it again, aren't I? I'm going to have to look at the Pro-Ams now to tell you where everyone is. Holmes has got it, I think, because Holmberg isn't here, and they were at P1 and 2. No, but it's much closer in that table. So again, if any one of these three takes any one of the others out, it completely flips things on its head. So I'll just have a quick look at the Pro-Ams, and I'll try and do my Carol Vordman level maths for you in this one as well. So Matthias Holmberg, he's not here, but he's on 317 points. Craig Holmes is on 312. Thomas Mumbles Lenatis is on 304. Then you got Gary Barham 296, Richard Cook 278. So at the moment, doesn't matter that Richard Cook is ahead of these two guys. He's not going to finish at the top of this championship unless the two behind him have a calamitous incident that pushes them right down the pack. Because there's only going to be 5 points in it between each of their scores. You know, it's going to be 65. See, I can't remember. Then again. So yeah, it's going to be close, but not that close. The battle for the championship here as well is this close. It's between Craig Holmes, Thomas Lenatis. They will end up P1 and 2 if they carry on in this formation. if Thomas can take Craig, even if he doesn't take Gary, so he'll finish. Take Craig, finish second. Is that just 8, 6 plus G? Divided by the square root of my friend's small dog that's not quite as small as a Chihuahua. Means that. So it's 63 points for the winner in category, which is at the moment Cookie. 58, 53. So it's 5 points in it. So. And they are. Not paying attention. They're 8 points apart. Thomas is 8 points behind. So actually, if Thomas wants to win the championship, I think he needs to take Craig and Cookie. Otherwise, he's going to finish second in the championship, and Craig's going to win it. So Craig is in a really dangerous sandwich here. What does he do? Because if he lets Thomas go, or if Thomas gets past him, what's Cookie going to do? Is he going to fight it? Is he going to... I don't think he'd let Thomas past him. But with 11 minutes to go, it can all still happen. And yeah, if Thomas gets ahead of both of them, he gets 10 points more than Craig. Craig get pole in class. I don't think Cookie, can't remember. But yeah, I think if Thomas gets P1 and Craig gets P3 or lower, Craig Holmes, Thomas wins the Pro-Am category. No, I did it. I worked it out, and it's only taken me the best part of the race to calculate that. So I think really should be really proud of what I've achieved tonight, especially based on the fact that, like I said, my brain's gone to mush and lost the ability to think about most things. But this is good. What else are we seeing on track? Is there anything super close? No, it's really spread out. We've got Murch and Ed Brown having a battle here. Murch on the outside, 2 fezzes going at it. It's going to be a Fiat sandwich, top of the hill. Murch gets ahead. Ed thinks better of sticking it back up the inside. And yeah, Murch pushing his way through. In fact, he's done well, hasn't he? He was down really sort of lower pack, so he's got himself up to P12. And in the Pro category, that puts him P7 in Pro. And he's chasing down Paul Sims, but Paul is a lot. Murch going for the off-road route there, Mario Kart shortcut, but it didn't quite work because there were a huge row of, I don't know if you saw them, a huge row of big tyres in his way, which stopped him taking the shortcut, which would have knocked out at least one sector of this track. I mean, it was a good attempt, but it wasn't quite what we needed for the victory. Clearly been commentating on this race for too long, losing the plot. Looking at really sort of established a bit of a pattern here, haven't they? Nobody's getting super close. 9 minutes left. I mean, in this track, that's only what, 4 laps? 4 or 5 laps at best. We're 21 laps in. Sparks is gone, by the way. Let's just recap on this. So Sparks is 11.3 ahead of Rich Gasson. Rich Gasson's holding the gap to Dan Moffat, 1.5. So yeah, at the moment, Gasson is championship winner in Pro. Then Moffat will come home P2 in Pro. And then I think Sparks will be P3. Gary's had an incident, I don't know what. Oh, he's gone deep, hasn't he? Coming down to bus stop. He's gone for the same braking marker as Waite did a few laps before. It's worked out about the same, but yeah, I think got distracted. Oh, Murch has got the he's got a drive-through for that last off track. That's mean. He didn't get any time advantage, did he? Game must have judged. So everyone moves back up, and I just complimented Murch on, pushing his way back through to P11, and now he's had a mare and had to go to the pits. And I think that's the end of him. Actually, he's disappeared from the. So we need to get back here because this is getting closer. 1/10 closer, and Thomas will be in slipstream range. So game on. 7.5 minutes to go. Simon, that would be brilliant, wouldn't it, if I could actually see the warnings? No, but all I can see is when they actually then get the drive-through. I see that on the board. I don't see the in-car warnings that they're getting. Even if I go in-car, I don't think I see it. If I just have a look in now, Don't think I see any track goals. Oh, but it sounds nice. Let's have a listen. I love the air. Sound like Super GT? Well, that's a compliment for sound like Super GT. God, I used to watch years ago. I watched Super GT. He still does it, right? But not as because he's racing for real now, isn't he? Like broadbent, but actually faster. Yeah. Well, he's a very cynical and sarcastic man as well, but he's got no excuse because he's young. Whereas at least I'm older and therefore have every right. In fact, you get like a badge, don't you, when you turn 50? It says you're now allowed to be permanently cynical and sarcastic, even when it's like Pringles or racing, family. They're all on the list. Did somebody tell me, did Super GT invent the Shadow Realm, or was the Shadow Realm something that was already there? Because in Gran Turismo, everything goes into the Shadow Realm when it disappears. Or was that him that coined that phrase many years ago when he started streaming it? I don't work it out. I just associate it with him. That's a nice line from him. I like that line. Really like over the right hand curve. There's not many curbs you can take in the Audi, but some of them at Spa you really can. Chasing down Cookie. Thomas, let's have a look at Wink. Let's do Wincam. I haven't done Wincam today. I like his livery as well. Thomas is working really hard there. Oh, good shout. Good shout, Simon. I will get back to that because this looks super close. You're right, Rich Gasson, and let's see how this has happened. Gasson's last lap 2:95. Yeah, Dan's pushing 2:18.8 on his last lap. That's only a tenth off his best. So he's clearly managed his tyres better throughout the race. It looks like he's really, really hunting down Rich Gasson now. To get the right car, that'd be good, wouldn't it? So this is it. This is it. This is 10 races. An entire season comes down to the last 4 minutes. So the last, what are we going to get? 3 laps, aren't we? Get 3 laps. The last 3 laps of this race are going to decide who wins this championship. And likewise between Thomas and Rich Cook. And I'm going to focus on the wrong one, aren't I? I'm going to pick the wrong race. I thought Dan had flappy bonnet then, but no, I was misreading. It's just a suspension, I thought. Dan Moffat hunting down Gasson. Back to Helicam. Just see what we can do here. I'm keeping one eye on Craig Holmes' battle as well, because I mean, again, Dan looked like he went right over the curbs there. I'd be surprised if both of these guys aren't on a couple, if not 3 track cuts. Oh, Barry R. That was it. Straight into Barry R. Peter. Good racing. And it is that close here. They're all... Look at this. This is horrendous. I don't know what to focus on. I'll go back to Dan Moffat if I see it getting any closer. What's happened there? McNair's just taken Rios for P9, but that's... this isn't going to bite him back there. See, I'm not going to that just yet because this is super close to be on Holmes, because Thomas is absolutely on him now. There's, oh, and then you can see the gap there. I reckon that's probably less than 0.1 seconds. I mean, I'm incredibly astute like that. I can just tell. So it's a skill I have. But that's incredibly close. Can he get the aero though through this next corner and stick with him? It's hard. Both of those cars are not going to be loving the high-speed corners at this point in the race. That Thunderbird's livery looks filthy. Should send him into the pits for a car wash. It's absolutely disgusting. No pride in his car whatsoever. Does look good. Thomas's lines just look that bit tighter. It looks like he's handling the car well. Dan Moffat's 0.6 behind Rich Gasson, but I'm not going to jump to it. That's on the back straight coming down to the bus stop. Still battling hard, those two. Very quickly. Nope, he's not going to do it there, so I'm back to this battle. Oh, this is super close. What a cracking end to the season, though. Absolutely brilliant. Thomas 0.2, 0.5 to Cook. They are both absolutely battling. Of course, what Craig could do with doing is actually getting past Rich Cook. And then even if Thomas gets 5 seconds ahead of him, oh, a little nudge there from Thomas. He's not going to hang about. Be careful. No means no. Oh, the Audi's just looking sluggish to the apex. Thomas using all of the track. And then the off-road section slightly as well. Craig really understanding the urgency required now and his need to get past Richard Cook. I don't know if he's been doing the maths whilst trying to drive around Spa, because if I can't manage it without having to do anything, imagine he hasn't. But getting a car between him and Thomas probably feels like a good thing to do. Richard Cook won't give up that space easily, and it's the AMG. She be fast in a straight line. Let's just see what Craig can do. Can you imagine? I'd love to see a heart rate monitor on these guys right now. It's just super close. I've got to jump to Rich Gasson and Dan because Dan is right on him. Sorry, I will get back to the Cook Holmes Lenatis battle in a second. Looks like Gasson has ragged that Lambo completely now. I mean, it's not. It's his last lap, 2:20.0. So yeah, nowhere near his best lap. Looks like it's pretty spent. It's only going to be. This can't be the last lap. It might be the last. If so, I don't think Thomas, unless a miracle happens, is going to make it work. I've got to stick with this. I will jump back to Cookie, Holmes and Lenatis as soon as I've got to the end. Gasson's run really wide. Just didn't get it right out of there onto back straight. Moffat's got the speed. He's got the overspeed. Where's he going to go? Inside, outside? No, but it's got to get. Gasson got it back together and he just got the straight line speed. Leaders just started the final lap, so we've got 1 to go. Dan Moffat really putting Rich under pressure. Right, let's jump back because they're not going to take each other there. Holmes and an artist absolutely hammer and tongs here. Thomas not shy in wanting to pass and come forward. Let's see what he looks like doing here. Oh no, Cookie's lost some speed as well, so it's really put the cat amongst the pigeons. Thomas just, oh no, Thomas. Oh man. No, that's, he's waited, to be fair. He's waited for him, Thomas. But he hit him and then he pushed and pushed, didn't he? So it just made it worse for him. So they got to hold, surely he's got to give him the position back there. They'll hold their positions. Holmes will end up back ahead of Lenatis, which means, I think it was a fair go. He was absolutely right to. Cook was compromised. Cook had compromised himself, which meant that Lenatis had an opportunity to take whatever line Craig Holmes didn't he? And Craig took what he thought was the best line for the corner. Thomas saw the gap. He went for the gap. He nudged him. That's fine. It's okay. I think if he hadn't kept the momentum, if he'd slammed on the brakes at that point, Craig probably could have lined back up. And again, you can't really tell because it could be a bit of net code. But they're battling away again now. This is still for the Pro-Am Championship, this last lap battle. So it's normal services resumed. I think Thomas now feeling he's got every right to push again on Craig. Yeah, the push was the thing. The first impact was just 3 into 1 doesn't go. Then the push, it's just frustration, isn't it? You're just like, no, this can't have happened. And it's both of them feeling the frustration there. It's just Craig Holmes got to hold his line together here. If he's going to hold this together, got to get back to these two guys because they're coming onto the last straight of the last lap, the last straight of the season, fighting over the championship P1 and 2. Dave Sparks, honourable mention of course, he's going to come across the line in first place, but we have to see Moffat and Gasson. Whether Dan, uncharacteristically, is going to have a desperate last minute lunge. Congratulations Mr Sparks, but this is where the fight is for the championship. I've got to stick with this. Looks like he's done it. Gasson got his braking right. Dan Moffat respectfully holds back there, doesn't go for any crazy, flashes him. Congratulations, that's absolutely fantastic. Brilliant end to a championship. Cookie's let them both go. That's not going to affect, unless Cookie's out of fuel. Cookie's out of fuel. So Holmes and Lenatis battling for P1 and 2 now in the Pro-Am Championship on the last corner. Craig's got to get his braking right. Thomas knows, yeah, he's braked really late, but so did Craig. Brilliant last lap from the two of them. Really respectful driving from the two of them to kind of reset things and make that work. Cookie can't believe it. Cookie's down to brilliant battle, by the way, these guys. So Holmes, an artist, credit to you. It's absolutely fantastic racing. Great to see it. That is, can't believe that end. You've got both championships decided by less than half a second in our final race of the season. It's absolutely brilliant racing. Credit to all of you. Let's look just a little bit further down because I'm missing just the final rows of the race, aren't I, as well? Everyone's in the pits now. I think we're all there. We're all there. Okay, so let's just cover this off. That was mad. That was amazingly exciting. It sort of ebbed and flowed, didn't it? It was quiet in the middle, and then it just absolutely kicked off towards the last 10 minutes. It's absolutely fantastic. And just look at this fantastic grid of races we got in Group 1. Some serious competitors there, some great driving, and really respectful driving there. Everyone's going to get things wrong, but knowing when to give back the place, knowing when you've made the mistake and you have to put it back where it belongs. That's fantastic. I'm really pleased to see the guys finish that way. Holmes and Thomas. Thomas, you gave it everything. It's brilliant drive in a car that has not had a lot of love lately. And certainly at Spa probably is. It's really unforgiving. I mean, it's a brutal car when you get things wrong at Spa. So well driven, both of you, in two cars that most people have. I know the aliens haven't abandoned the Audi, but most others have, because it's hard. They're both very hard cars to drive. Both of you drove brilliantly. Fantastic battle. Congratulations to you both. I think you're going to be P1 and 2 in the Pro-Am Championship. Gasson has won the Pro Championship, closely followed, I think 5 or 6 points behind, because he would have got pole as well, so he'd have got the extra point and fastest lap, so 7 points behind for Dan Moffat. But brilliant battle. In fact, I think, yeah, if Dan had taken, no, because it's Gasson and Sparks. I'm getting myself just confused now. I've been talking for too long. No, it's brilliant. Absolutely stunning race. Great to see everybody driving so well. It's absolutely brilliant. Thank you all for coming and watching. I know I don't expect hundreds of people on this stream, but it's nice just to have a handful of people here that really like seeing what they see and enjoy the racing. And I'm sure a lot of guys in Group 1 will be watching that back later. There were some fantastic battles there, right through the field. And proper grandstand finish for both the Pro and the Pro-Am Championships. Clearly a great decision to split the groups up that way. It means brilliant for the racers to have something to fight for. Bloody nightmare for the commentator to have to follow it all and keep track of who's leading what. Moan over. But really enjoyable. Love that. Hopefully I'll have time tomorrow night to do Group 2. My voice holds up. It's knackering doing an hour plus quali. Jeez, don't know anybody does it. Yeah, come along for Group 2 tomorrow if you're not in Group 2. Else watch it afterwards. Hopefully it'll be a cracker as well. Looking forward to that. Super close at the top of Group 2 as well. I mean, this is just really, really good racing. Double points all to play for. You know, you're right. It's double points as well. I wasn't accounting for that, was I? But still, finishing in the positions they finished in means that they definitely have. I'm sure they have finished. Gasson, Moffat is P1 and 2. Work out the rest later. And then Holmes, an artist, do that. Sorry, apologies to people in P3. I just can't work it out. Better not say it. Anyway, thank you all for putting up with me and listening to my waffling. I'm going to go and drink a glass of beer because it feels like I need a glass of beer. And yeah, hopefully I have the energy to do I just need to go and get another 4-pack of Punk IPA from the shop and Pringles of a flavour to be decided. I mean, I don't really want to go there now because it creates such contention in the chat. I mean, it's literally creates like social hatred. We don't need that. We don't need a Pringles civil war kicking off. So I'll leave it there. I'll be getting a packet of Pringles, not really salty because they're boring. But I'll be getting a packet of Pringles and a 4-pack for tomorrow night. Sitting down and doing this all again for Group 2. Thank you for being here. Thank you for following SIMseniors. I've really loved that race. It's been great commentating on it. Thank you all so much. And I will see you all tomorrow night if you make it. Look, he's there again. He's only there again, showing off his fat head. Here he is. This SIMseniors team. You're right, we need to get these done. We'll just get them done maybe for the, something with that little number on. I'll talk to Colin. he'll go mad if I go and promise something like that without running it by him. You know, this is a democracy we work in here. Team. Anyway, fantastic stuff. Cheers, Chris, Laura, everyone in chat. Thank you so much for coming. I will see you all at the next one. Good night.